Okay, it's a painful one for me, this. It's very short, and it is painful. And let me just sort the screen out. And the reason it's painful is I'm going to have a pop at somebody that I don't like to have a pop at, for all he's done some things wrong this year. And it's old David De Gea. I actually watched the highlights reel from Match of the Day 2, which was on last night. I watched it earlier on today. And for all I've seen all the things that happened in the match when I watched the game, I don't think I realised there was that many errors in the one game. And when I watched it today, I must admit, I do have serious concerns. As I've said in the past, in past videos, you may have seen them over the last 3 weeks since the channel's been running. If we're continuing to play out from the back with the ball on the floor, you can't do it. We shouldn't be doing it. We've gone a few games now since the last Rick where they've not been doing it. They did it again yesterday. Why is beyond me, but they did. And twice again he gave the ball away. Once from only about 10 yards out. They probably could have and should have scored. It's absolute madness. The guy just can't do it. He just can't do it, simple as that. But if you're not going to play that and you're going to play a different game, then in the main I would suggest I've been fine with him. I think he's got 16 clean sheets. I think it's the most in the league. I like him massively. I think apart from a year and a half where he wasn't on the ball a year or two ago, I think he's gained us more points than he's lost. Some of his saves over the last few weeks in particular have been absolutely amazing. There's games when he'll have 2 and 3 world-class saves in there. But I noted when BBC put the figures up last night, goals directly attributed to De Gea when he's playing out from the back this year is 4. And I think he's joint top with, is it Lloris from Tottenham? So he's on 4 at the moment. There's 3 or 4 games to go. You wouldn't be surprised if there's another goal in there, which would make it 5. You can't afford 4 or 5 goals per season that are being given away just because the goalkeeper cannot kick the ball, cannot control the ball. You can't. You either get a different goalkeeper or you bang it upfield. 5, I would suggest, is probably 4 too many. It could happen once maybe as a one-off, but it shouldn't be happening 4 or 5 times a year. But my biggest gripe from yesterday, and it is, when I watched that incident, a game where they had the goal disallowed, West Ham that is, because he got an arm in his face. It's one of them arms in the face similar to the one where Bruno Fernandes gets it 3 times a game and he rolls around the floor like he's been shot. It was exactly the same. That De Gea has been extremely, extremely weak and hoping and praying he gets a free kick. If I remember right, was it early this season or back end of last, he did that in one game and we didn't get the free kick and it was given as a goal. I think yesterday's on reflection should have been a goal. The guy barely touched him. He did nothing at all. Now, I don't want my goalkeeper pretending to be injured and dive into the floor when the very, very next play is going to be a goal. You've got to try to defend that at all costs. You've got to. You cannot just fall to the floor and hope you get a free kick. You just can't do that. I don't want to see it. I don't like seeing it with Bruno, and more to that in a further video. And by the way, I don't just always knock United players, although it seems that way. There's many of them I love, and there's some I bum up like Casemiro early on in the piece. But it's not good enough, and like with Bruno, I'm sure his favourite colour's green because he's always looking at that grass. I don't want De Gea to get that way. It can hurt us when Bruno's pretending and lay on the floor when he's not involved in play. But it's a lot worse when your goalie does it. It needs to stop, David. If you're going to stay here, you've got to command that area and stop being a pansy. You've got to. But as for this passing out lark, Eric, when are you going to realise? All of us can see it. Everybody that watches football, either live or on TV, whether they're United fans or not, knows that he cannot play out from the back. Our backline can't really, but he definitely can't. He's the weakest link of them all. And they're not all great on the ball. There's a couple there that are terrible, but he's by far the worst. So why carry on doing it? Eric, just stop it. Just say from next game, we never, ever, ever play out from the back. Unless that is, you put a new goalkeeper in there. If you don't, Eric, and I love you, that's just crap coaching. Why on earth would you ask a goalkeeper to play out from the back when it's patently obvious that he can't? And the attacking players know this. Why they're not crowding him even more and getting onto him quicker is, I can't understand it. Because if I'm any team coach taking a team to Man United, be it home or away, and I know what he's like on the floor, the minute I see that ball in his feet, I'm onto him straight away. Because he's horrendous. Anyway, rant over, but for me, unless things change there, unless they change the tactics, and unless he starts commanding that box, he's got to go. It's as simple as that. You know, his contract's going to be less this time and less long, but he's 31, 32. He'll go from 360 odd thousand, which is crazy, to about 100, 120, 150. But I think, was it Danny Murphy said last night, you can get a cracking goalkeeper of probably 5 or 6 years younger than that for probably that same money, who might not be as good in some areas as De Gea, but better in others. So come on, make the decisions, Eric, but make the right ones.